How's it going, everybody? Larry here from Farmstead Fitness. I just got back to the homestead after a day of doing work, and I just want to make a quick video about a millennial's thoughts on work ethic. I was born in '94, which makes me about 30 years old. I turned 30 in February, which throws me right in the middle of the millennial, get a bunch of rain in here, millennial generation. Now, a lot of people from the generations before us think that millennials have no sense of work ethic, cannot put in hard work, or know how to have grit. And kind of want to just say that that's kind of a product of the public school system in a sense. I was raised in suburban America. I wasn't raised on a farm. I wasn't raised around a lot of hard work. I had a hard-working dad, but he didn't have a lot of opportunity to teach us about work ethic. It's not like he was able to take us to work or have us follow him around on a farm. He went to work, he came home, and he was exhausted from work, so he just kind of chilled the rest of the day, and we really didn't have a lot of opportunity to learn to work. So for the longest time, I really was kind of lazy. And then as I got older and I was forced to do more work and get more jobs, or different jobs, I was surrounded by other men who taught me the value of work ethic. So it started off with my dad and then moved on to other people. There was this guy I worked with, his name was Alan, at a hardware store called Menards. And I really picked up a lot from him. He taught me a lot. And the main thing that I got from him was hard work is nothing to be frustrated, upset, or bummed about. We would get these giant furniture trucks that would come in like 10 minutes before we were all about to clock out. And Alan would be like, well, let's go do it. And he would never complain about it. He always had a smile on his face, and we would bust it out. And this has been, almost 10 years ago now. And I'm friends with him on Facebook, and the amount of stuff that he still does, and he's getting close to 70, is insane. He might be older than 70 now. And then there's other people that I met, the people that I work with now. But work ethic is not something you're born with. Work ethic is something that has to be cultivated and learned and nurtured. It comes with a positive mind, a positive attitude. If you just have a grumpy, bummed mindset that everything that's hard sucks, you're not going to want to push through and work hard. You're not going to want to do much of anything. You're just going to sit around because that's what's easy. Or you're going to do very little to just get by, and you're not going to go the extra mile. And personal experience has taught me more and more about work ethic. Kind of feel like Dwayne Knoll right now from Dry Creek Wrangler School, smoking a Brick House Maduro. It's gonna go out if I keep talking. But I just had a bunch of crazy work experiences. I worked as a firefighter for a hot second, so that helped me. I've done heating and cooling now for almost 7 years. Last summer, I worked at a factory called General Films, and I helped to rebuild a $4 million resin extruder machine. And we had to wake up at 5, and this might not be brutal for some people, but it was enlightening for me. I had to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. No, I had to wake up at 5. And I would walk to my neighbor's house, which is about a mile away, because it's just a mile down the road. The weather wasn't bad, so I'm not going to get in the truck and drive over there. It gave me some time to think. So I'd walk to my neighbor's house. We would drive 2 hours to the factory, put in a solid 8 hours, 2 hours back, and we did that all summer, at least 3 days a week. And then the other days I was doing heating and cooling stuff, and that was brutal. And it just taught me to push through and keep pushing and keep pushing. If you just get in a groove and you just, don't let it get to your head that this is suck, it's brutal. And also something else that helps out with work ethic, if I can talk today, is having responsibility. Like responsibilities at home. I have a wife, a daughter, and a son on the way. And they got to eat. And they need a roof over their head. And if I don't go to work, they don't eat. The bills don't get paid, and we go without. So a lot of millennials nowadays are not married. They're fooling around with other women or men, and they're just not productive. And there's nothing that teaches you to be a man or woman more than having children. When life is not all about you, and when you've got tiny little kids relying on you, it really puts things into perspective. Another thing that really helped me with work ethic is building the barn-dominium here. I've talked about before, I turned a pole barn into a house. And it took 6 years. And it really only should have taken about 2 or 3. I really didn't start working on it hardcore until January of last year. And I would work all day, come home, and come down here and work. And I did almost all the work myself. I did a bunch of electrical with my family. I did all of the drywall, except for like a few rooms that got done a couple years ago. I did all of the drywall taping and mudding. I did all of the painting. I helped lay the floor. I did all of the plumbing myself. I helped do the sanitary lines. I did all the water lines. I helped bury the septic tank. I helped dig the leach lines, which was brutal. It was out there in hot summer with a rake, but my wife wanted to be able to use the bathroom in the house, so I pushed through it. And it's just compounding events help you to cultivate work ethic. So get some responsibility in your life, and you'll be amazed what that will push you to do. And number one of all, work is not something to be depressed and bummed about. It's a necessary part of life. It's something that people should take pride in. It's something that's important. And it's also something that you shouldn't make an idol in your life. There's a lot of people that's their entire life is work. Work. As hard as you can, that's their entire identity. And they forget that there's more to life. There's beauty in life, you know? You don't have to kill yourself all the time, especially when you got family. I mean, I understand if you've got bills to pay, if you've got important things you need to take care of, but if you're killing yourself on overtime just because you want the extra cash, you're all about that hustle life, your family's going to suffer. You need to be home on weekends. You need to sometimes turn down the overtime. And that's something that, I've learned is I'm going to do what I need to do to provide for my family, and so that my kids can have comforts. They can have, the video game system they want, so they can have the toys they want, so I can have the money so we can go on the trips that I want them to experience. Because I didn't go on a lot of vacations as kids. I don't think we had a lot of money to do so, and it was just, I never really something my parents, really had the ambition to do. I really want to take my kids all over the country, and that takes money. So it's one of those, the true meaning of live to work, not work to live. Or what is it? I don't live to work, I work to live. So sometimes you got to turn down that overtime. When the person comes on or calls you on a Saturday or Sunday morning and they're like, can you come and do this? Can you come and work on this? Be like, no, I got kids. And the last thing I want my children to do when I am older is to be like, Daddy, we had a good life, but I wish you were home more. I don't ever want to hear that. Sometimes you got to do what you got to do. If you're a journeyman or if you're a traveling work person and you're gone, sometimes that's just how it is. But sometimes people need to quit those jobs because their wife and their children at home are suffering. If you're going to be a traveling person that's gone 2 to 3 weeks out of every month, you might as well not get married. That's the truth. You're living for yourself. There's other jobs that you can do where you can make relatively the same amount of money or less money and be home way more. You have a duty to your family to be there for them. You have a duty to your children to be there for them. And if you're killing yourself all the time just to make that hustle, it's not worth it. Stay single. Rack up all that cash that you want to and go home and rack out and play video games or wherever the heck single people do. And just don't bring a family into it, because they're going to suffer in the long run. Now, if you're willing to have a balanced life and balance family and children, and also be able to teach your sons and daughters work ethic, you have to have both. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on millennials and work ethic. Hopefully these videos are helping people. And if you have any comments or questions, just punch them in the box below. And I just ask that you like, share, and subscribe. So thank you, guys.